Hello and welcome to Rise and Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. If you actually want to be on the show, go to our website. That's riseunwindtv.com. And what's happening on today's show? Well, we got this.
And I understand it because I'm also shoving their heads together, but the characters don't listen to me. So I think in the world of this story, she doesn't have a choice. And I think these boys don't have a choice. It's voluntary, but you have to sign up for the long walk.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind. Prescription drug prices keep climbing, and too many families are feeling the squeeze. Some even skip filling prescriptions because of the cost. But there are ways to save money without sacrificing your health. Joining us with practical tips is pharmacist and senior vice president at CVS Caremark is Joshua Friedel. Welcome to the show, Joshua. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
All right, so those drug prices, they keep going up. What can people actually do to manage these costs without risking their health?
Yeah, it's a great question. First should start just to understand the pricing of medications. It starts with where the makers of the medication set the price. But for an individual patient, there's a lot of things they can do. And one of the most important ones is to understand their prescription drug benefit, understanding what's covered, what's not. But as important, what copay tier things may be on. A lot of times people don't understand that for their health condition, there may be many lower cost options that they're not aware of. So knowing what those are gives a great opportunity to have a next step with their doctor to talk about those, because it might actually help them with their health as well as save them money.
And we hear the term making the most of your benefits. What are some of the ways to or steps to be able to do that?
Yep. First, understanding the benefit. On the medication side, knowing what is covered, what is on each tier. For generics, it's usually the lowest cost tier, knowing what those options are. If there's no generics, or maybe someone's tried them and it hasn't worked, what's on the next tier, the preferred brands? Even for some rare specialty conditions, there are generic drugs or biosimilars that could offer incredible savings to patients. So knowing what those are is the very first step, because now you can have that conversation with your doctor about, are these right for me? But beyond the medications, also understanding there may be lower cost options in terms of the pharmacy. You may be able to save on your copay by using a mail order or home delivery pharmacy. And even if it doesn't save, it can make it a lot more convenient just to get your medication delivered to your door. So those are just two very practical ways patients can take next steps to understand their benefit. And by understanding it, find ways to save.
All right. When money's tight, people sometimes even cut corners. Why is it so important to stay on their treatment plan?
Yeah, it absolutely can be easy and tempting to cut a corner today, but when we're using medications today, those are there to help us manage our healthcare condition to really avoid future complications of those conditions. And future complications usually mean less health, but also more cost. So staying on track with our medicine today, using it every day if that's how it's been prescribed, will really help set up each of us to be healthier in the future, and that will lower our cost for ourselves, but also lower our costs for the healthcare system.
And what resources are out there to connect with experts and maybe get that real life support?
Yeah, I would use an expert that's in everyone's community, their local retail pharmacy and pharmacist. They certainly know a lot about medications, but they'll know a lot more about ways to save, ways to help best manage your condition beyond the medicine. You can certainly talk to your doctor, but use the online resources provided by your pharmacy benefit manager, by your health insurance provider. All great places to start to learn more and get connected to more information.
Joshua Friedel, where can viewers go to get more and maybe saving prescriptions and staying healthy?
Yep. Start with cvshealth.com. A lot of great information there for you, but also, again, use those online resources for your local pharmacy and your health insurance provider. Great places to start to find out more information to save, as well as options for you to take to your next conversation with your doctor.
I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
The greatest job in the world must be what our next guests have. Just imagine traveling to any city in the world, sitting down, finding food, finding cultures, and just hanging out with some good people. And that's what, the chef of love, Mr. Jernard Wells, does for a living. So let's chat with this cat right now. Hey, Chef Jernard, how are you, my friend?
I am feeling good. I want to tell you, I love that Paisley shirt. You're rocking it.
Thank you. I think this is the only shirt, the second shirt that I own. So thank you. That is it. Oh, you have the ultimate job. You travel from city to city. You talk to people that you love. You eat the foods that you love. You do things that you love. No wonder why they call you the chef of love. But come on, man. Tell us about the new show, Savor the City.
Yes, Savor the City is my way of sharing love with the world. Now, I said, no more waiting until people are gone to give them their flowers. I said, let's give them their flowers now while they're still here and they can smell them and know how great they are to us, what they mean to the culture. And I think it's so important that others learn and see what amazing gems that We have right at our back doors sometime, at our front doors, the local bakery, the local restaurant, the mom and pop. Let's go and sow into them some of the best food, the history, the culture, the travel. And I'm using the dinner plate to connect us, because food is what ultimately connects us all.
And when you're traveling, is there anything that really surprised you? Like maybe some ingredient, maybe something that you realized in a culture that you just didn't get used to or just learned along your travels?
One of the biggest things that surprised me out of all things, I was eating at an amazing restaurant, and this particular restaurant served me shark. It was my first time experiencing shark, and seeing that shark actually tastes like pork chops. You know, most people say, "Oh, all these different dishes, what it tastes like chicken." No, the shark actually tastes like a sweet, juicy pork chop, which was really amazing, but surprised me because at first I was like, I don't know if I want to venture here. But this is the thing. I want to bring the best to my people. If you're afraid to try it, if you're afraid to travel there, you hadn't experienced it yet, let me be your personal tour guide. I'm going to take you through it. I'm going to share what the food tastes like, give you play-by-play experiences, as well as take you on a journey that you wouldn't get no other way other than joining me on Savor the City.
Chef Jernard, we have you on our show all the time, and we want to say congratulations on your big show.
Right.
Check out Chef Jernard Wells every Thursday night on TV1 for Savor the City at 8 p.m., 7 Central. Thanks again, man, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Have you ever wondered about the stories behind some of heavy metal's most legendary and sometimes misunderstood figures? From Randy Rhoads to Dimebag Darrell, Wendy O. Williams to Judas Priest on trial, these are tales of creativity, tragedy, and survival. Hulu's new docuseries Into the Void takes us behind the curtain of metal to reveal the raw and very human stories behind the music. So joining me are the creators of the series, Evan Husney and Jason Eisner. Welcome to the show, you two.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for having us.
All right, heavy metal has always carried a reputation for being extreme in sound and lifestyle. What made you want to explore the more human side of these artists in Into the Void?
Well, outside of, Jason and I growing up as huge metal fans, and any opportunity to make this your job is a total dream come true. Outside of our love and passion for, metal and wanting people to, appreciate the genre more, I think that metal is a very interesting world to examine because, as you said at the top of the show, it is a genre that is often, misunderstood, misrepresented, or even weaponized by other people to further their own agendas in many ways, historically, which, of course, our show examines throughout the 80s and early 90s. And so I think it was an opportunity for us to kind of create a series that goes beyond just, their career trajectories, their albums, like the process of writing music and their hit songs, to really reveal the human side of all these figures and artists in this world, and to really show that, they're much more than just their larger than life stage personas. These are regular people who go through the same things we do, tragedy, triumph, resilience, perseverance, and things like that. And it really gave us the opportunity to highlight that with this series, and any opportunity to get more people into the genre or to respect the genre, to understand it more, is definitely awesome and enough for me.
And one of the more striking episodes about Judas Priest being put on trial, accused of influencing a tragedy. What is that moment, or any other moment within the series that talk about the cultural battles metal has faced?
Well, in particular, sorry, I feel like I'm Jason, if you want to hop in, but for me, it's like I feel with that story in particular, it's very relevant to now. I mean, Judas Priest, that story and everything that happened in terms of really looking at sort of a conservative Christian movement in the 80s that was sort of looking at metal as this very evil thing that was corrupting youth. It was causing teenage delinquency. It was inspiring crimes and things like that. And they sort of weaponized the genre to further their own cause. And that really caused that spiraled off into the PMRC and other things and other forms of censorship with heavy metal for a long time. And I feel like there was sort of a prophecy in terms of what all of the metal artists of that era were fighting against, that we're sort of seeing coming into fruition now. And I think in terms of free speech and in terms of other things. So I really do feel like it's very prescient to look at these stories from the past and sort of look at what we can learn from them in terms of, the freedom of artistic expression, trying to be put under attack and trying to be, harnessed and taken away.
Yeah, I think there's also a lot for people to learn from our episode on Confess, who are a metal band from Iran who were persecuted for their music that spoke out about religion and the government. And they were actually arrested by the government for their music and were facing very serious jail time. And they had to flee their country to be able to pursue their art and their freedom of expression. And so I think that's definitely an episode I think that's going to feel very timely right now.
Exactly.
I want to thank you two for joining me today. All 8 episodes of Into the Void are now streaming on Hulu. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's a powerful look at the legends, the overlooked trailblazers, and the stories that continue to shape heavy metal culture today. I want to thank you two for joining me.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Stephen King fans, this one is for you. His very first novel, The Long Walk, is finally on the big screen. From Francis Lawrence, the director behind The Hunger Games, comes a chilling thriller that asks the haunting question, how far would you go? One of the emotional anchors of this film is Judy Greer, playing Miss Garrity, the devoted mother of Ray, the story's central character. Judy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, this story has been a favorite of King fans for decades. What stood out to you about The Long Walk when you first read the script?
I was really scared of having to see these boys lose their lives. It stood out to me how, I guess what was so interesting was that Stephen King wrote this book in 1969, and we're making this movie in 2024 when we shot it, but 2025 when it comes out, and like how still relevant it is, and how you can tell a story about universal themes and that it works no matter what year it comes out. It's always a story about connection, to me, like I see a lot of positive in this story. I see the beautiful relationships that are built, the grace that these men offer each other, and the love and connection.
Your character, Miss Garrity, she brings so much heart to this intense survival tale. How did you approach balancing her love for her son with the fear of letting him go?
Well,
that much, I can see.
I felt, how did I balance my love for him with letting him go? I have a stepson who's 25, and as much as I want to control his life and I want him to do everything that I think he should do, because I know that I'm right all the time about everything, we can't control our kids. We have to let them go. We have to give them agency. I think that's a really literal answer. I think in the world of this story, she doesn't have a choice. And I think these boys don't have a choice. It's voluntary, but you have to sign up for the long walk. So there's really nothing that can be done. But I balance trusting that I suppose what's meant to happen will happen. But I also feel like Ginny, that's my character's name, she doesn't really balance it. She understands the depth and the gravity of what is going on in a way that she knows her son doesn't yet.
And The Long Walk, it doesn't just thrill, it kind of leaves audiences with the big question about sacrifice, hope, and survival. What do you hope moviegoers Okay, what do you think moviegoers carry with them when they kind of leave the theater?
I love the theater. After I saw it, the first time, I've seen it twice, I was sobbing and screaming at the screen. Thankfully, I was the only one watching it in the screening room, screaming, why? But I left feeling so much love and so much hope in my heart. I guess that's what I hope audiences will feel as it starts to really stick to your bones. You realize it's a story about love and connection and hope. And Peter McVree's the character played by David Johnson says, choose love. And it is gutting when he says it to me.
All right. I'm kind of heartbroken right now.
I love this movie. I really do. I mean, I think it's so beautiful when you really like take away the horror of what we watch. We think like all we have is our connection to other people. All we have is our love for other people. I mean, and this movie is like kind of a little microcosm of life. Like we start walking and then at some point it ends. All that's there is really like trying to connect to people that you don't know and loving strangers maybe.
All right. And everything in between, like trying to connect on the way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The Long Walk is in theaters now. For showtimes, head to longwalk.movie and check your local listings to experience this powerful adaptation of Stephen King's first novel on the big screen. Judy, I love you to death. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You ever wish your workplace felt more like a fairy tale or maybe a villain's lair? Millions of readers have fallen in love with a TikTok series that turned into a best-selling book phenomenon. The latest chapter, Accomplice to the Villain, is already topping the New York Times list. So joining us is author Hannah Nicole Maehrer, whose mix of magic, romance, and humor has made her one of today's most exciting voices in romanticy. Is that really a word? Welcome to the show, Hannah. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing my best, but I guess I'm still here. Your book started as a fun TikTok series of skits. How did these short videos grow into like a best-selling book series?
Oh my gosh. I think the idea was born on TikTok. So with each video that I posted, the story kind of started to develop itself. These characters started to feel like real and tangible to me. And it became such a exciting idea in my head that I couldn't stand it just sitting in my mind anymore. So I had to sit down to write it. It was probably the most words I've ever written in one sitting. It was like 10,000 words because I'd been waiting to write it. It like spilled out of me. I've never been able to repeat that word count in one sitting. I would love to. I've never seen that girl again. But yeah, that's how it kind of born into a TikTok series to book. And I got to document it all on TikTok.
Fans describe Accomplice to the Villain as Once Upon a Time meets The Office. What inspired you to like blend fantasy with like one of these workplace comedies?
I think it was a lot of the things I consumed growing up. I was a huge fan of Shrek. I loved The Princess Bride, Ella Enchanted, Stardust, like very quirky, fun fairy tales that kind of flip around the story a little bit, but add like a whole bunch of whimsy. And that's what I grew up consuming, and that's all of my favorite stories. So writing a book that kind of incorporates all of those things while also incorporating villains, which is my other favorite thing, was kind of, I think, just a quick pipeline from everything that I consumed as a child to now.
Evie and the villain have such a unique dynamic. What can readers expect from their relationship in this latest book?
Same push pill, slow burn romance that we've always had, but obviously with each book, the tension gets amped up because, we're progressing slowly but surely. The slow burn is probably the most joyous and complaints that I get. It's the tandem together, and I understand it because I'm also shoving their heads together, but the characters don't listen to me. So I'm just kind of babysitting them at this point.
You're like,
Oh my
please
God.
kiss, kiss. Okay, I can see
literally
that
every book,
imagery
I'm like,
already.
come on.
You've built a huge community online. How does that instant feedback from the fans help shape your writing?
Oh my gosh, I think it was such a huge motivator when I was writing the book. And I realized how rare that is when you're sitting and writing a book. It's usually such an isolating experience because it's just you and your computer. But with this experience, it was me and my computer. But every time I wrote an excerpt I was really excited about, I would go and I would share it with the audience that had been following along with the TikTok skits and also loved the characters just as much as I do. So it's a really unique experience, but it was definitely motivating while in the writing journey to hear people say, I can't wait to read your book. Hearing that in and of itself was a wild thing. It still is a wild thing to me. So it's amazing.
And since fandom is so deep on this, is there like an issue managing expectations when writing the next chapter? Because sometimes fans take it over and kind of adopt it as their own, and they kind of get upset when things are changing. Is
Yeah, I
something there?
encourage people to do that, I think, because this story isn't just mine. It's for everybody that needs it, and everybody that wants to be a part of it is welcome to be a part of it. So I encourage that. I actually think it's really important. But when I go in to write, I don't think about anything else but the characters. I kind of have tunnel vision, so I don't worry about expectations. I don't worry about disappointing anybody because the only thing I'm focused focused on is making sure I'm doing the right thing for the characters and the right thing for the story. And as long as I'm doing that, that's the compass I follow. I think you can't go wrong, because you can't please everybody. So if you try to go that route, you're going to fail every single time. So always stick true to what's true for you.
Hannah, thank you for joining me. Accomplice to the Villain is out now wherever books are sold, and the hardcover special edition of Assistant of the Villain arrives September 16th, so don't miss your chance to dive into this magical, laugh-out-loud world. Thanks for being here, Hannah.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely chatting with you.
Do you ever wonder what happens when a quiet acoustic project grows into a full-blown rock trio? Sacramento's own Vinnie Guidera and the Deadbirds have done just that. Their new album, Afterimage, is packed with sharp lyrics and inventive sounds, all created on a DIY budget and released completely on their own. Vinnie, Kevin, and Ian are proof that creativity kind of wins over constraints. Welcome to the show, Vinnie. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
All right, this project started out as you and an acoustic guitar. What made you start to expand into a full band?
I've played with Kevin and Ian on and off since we were in high school. Initially, this was a solo acoustic project, and we built it up for a full band show that was supposed to be like a one-off special thing. And we ended up really liking that arrangement and enjoyed exploring the dynamics of playing a little bit louder and heavier.
And the new record, Afterimage, it was self-recorded, self-released. What did doing it yourselves kind of allow you to explore what you might not have otherwise?
If we were paying for studio time, it would be a constant battle against the clock and just, constantly thinking about paying by the hour, things like that. And if we're doing it at home, we can take our time, do it at our own pace, explore ideas that come along the way, and it shifts the focus from our budget to creative matters, which is the way it should be.
And your latest single, One at a Time, it digs into feelings of like dread creeping out during like quiet moments. How did you bring your idea to life in the music video?
It's sort of in the same DIY spirit. I wanted to explore visuals of something familiar that looks wrong and uncanny, because the song's about kind of dark thoughts and anxiety coming from within, even when everything should be okay. So we used my house for the majority of the video, and we just kind of made my house look wrong.
And you run your acoustic through pedals and a Marshall half stack. Why'd you choose that setup, and how does that shape the band sound?
That was my setup when I was playing lead guitar in a very different band. And when we built this up for a three-piece, I plugged my acoustic into that same amp just because that's what was there. And it ended up opening up a lot of dynamic possibilities. So I like the way an acoustic resonates through an electric rig. I think it feels interesting, and it results in some interesting textures.
I always like to ask musicians about some other artists that influence them. And it's not the generic, what musicians influence you? Because we could go down that list and it's probably the same answer every time. But what are some of the artists outside of the medium that you work in that influence your work? And how do you feel that they do?
It's probably no surprise based on my background here that I'm a big David Lynch fan. So especially when it comes time to make a music video or cover art or something beyond the music itself, it's fun to draw on influences like that. And I think David Lynch was a master of creating this uncanny feeling where you can't exactly put your finger on why it makes you uncomfortable. You just know that it does. And it's fun to try to capture that in the art that I make.
With Afterimage that it's out now and you have a November tour ahead, what can fans expect from some of these live shows?
They can expect a bunch of songs from the new album, maybe a fun cover here and there. We're going to be playing in cities we've never played before, which will be exciting. And I'm really just looking forward to new people hearing our stuff and hopefully finding something that resonates with them.
From conception to projection, how long did it take you guys to come up with the idea for the music video, maybe even the song that went along with it, and to finally showing it on screen for friends and fans?
The idea stemmed from the cover art. It's sort of an expansion on that imagery of, darkness and anxiety coming from inside rather than outside. So it didn't really take long to come up with the idea, and the actual production of the video was pretty quick. It only took, I don't know, maybe a week to film and edit it. And yeah, now it premiered on a local music website here in Sacramento, and I'm excited for people to see it far and wide.
All right, let's take a peek at One at a Time with Vinnie, Guidera, and the Deadbirds. You can check out Afterimage on color vinyl, CD, or digital right now at vgdb.bandcamp.com. Keep up with the band's tour and new music by following VG and the DB on Instagram or at facebook.com/Vinnie Guidera Music. Hey, Vinnie, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
And that's it for Rise Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. Go to our website, riseunwindtv.com. Follow us on social media. That's at Rise Unwind. And until next week, that was Rise Unwind.